Nashville, Tennessee, known as Music City and home to Music Row, an area on the southwest side of town where bands never stop playing and the good times are always rolling.
Down to Nashville, Music Row, people can sing but they just don't know.
From old school to new, this city has seen huge names come and go. The music industry drives Nashville's tourism and businesses, but globally, the recorded music industry is worth over $130 billion. That's enough to make even the most average Joe pack up and pick up a guitar. But is it more than that? Are people in it for the money, or because they still do have a genuine dream to make it in music?
But it just all depends on the crowd and how they're feeling. If people are in a good mood out here, then you're most likely, to get good tips.
People talking but they don't know. Talking but they just don't.
My name is Deion McCarter, and that's me, behind the camera. The woman in front of me, that's Jessica Dawn. She's been a singer and songwriter in Nashville for over 11 years. But before we go any further, let's go back a bit. 3 weeks before this, I set off and decided to find out what life is like, being a musician in Nashville. So I turned to the safest and most reliable resource to find someone that was willing to share their story: Craigslist. Jessica was the first to email us about the ad and said she wouldn't mind if we shared her story about moving to Nashville. She also arranged for us to attend a performance of hers. Fast forward 3 weeks, and we're here.
I discovered music because I used to hear melodies come in my head, and I actually remember the first song I wrote. I was 8 years old, and I remember I had the flu. I was sick, and I kept hearing this melody over and over again, and then I had an idea, lyrics to write, and it kind of started from there. And I remember I used to swing in the backyard, and I can hear my mom now, "Jessica, what are you doing out there? How long have you been swinging?" And what I was doing was I was actually, while I was swinging, I was singing this melody over and over again. I was memorizing the melody, and then I would go inside and record it on this little tiny retro tape player that my mom had.
With being so young, it's easy to expect a career choice of a singer to get swept underneath the rug to something following the status quo. Jessica explains growing up with a musical talent and realizing the gift she has.
It was a natural ability, but I guess I didn't realize it at first. It's just something that I did. I started recording these melodies and start writing, lyrics. I listened to the radio a lot. I was already listening to music a lot by 8, 9, and 10 years old. And then I didn't have that awareness until I was around friends and realize, wait, not everyone's writing songs right now.
Everybody has different reasons for moving to Music City, although the musicians we talked to had reasons very similar to Jessica. They simply outgrew their hometowns and needed to expand their fan base and talents.
Well, I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and it's a tourist beach town. So I got to the point where I was playing, I pretty much played every club that you could possibly play in Virginia, and Virginia Beach specifically, but also surrounding areas. And I put a band together, I did solo stuff, and I put in about at least 7-8 years I didn't go to college. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be creative, and I just kind of cut my teeth at open mics right away. Like, I barely played guitar, and I used to be really, really shy, but I just started playing, and then it did get to this point where it was like, what else can I do here? You know, you kind of do so much, and then you realize, okay, they just really want to hear Jimmy Buffett. You know? Yeah.
It was at this point in Jessica's life that she decided it was time for a change. And in March of 2003, she packed up everything she owned and made the move to Nashville. Jessica describes how she took this huge leap of faith and the emotions she was feeling during this time.
I think it was more of a script mentality. I was just getting out of a relationship, and I was very vulnerable. I knew I needed to change. I was feeling stuck in Virginia, and it was kind of like something I knew I always was going to do eventually, and I think the stars aligned, and I just knew that I was supposed to just take that leap of faith and just do it. I just hit a point where I was like, something's got to change. I've got to just go for it. I've got to go after it, and I literally packed up everything I owned in a big old 82 Chevy van. My parents thought I was crazy. I knew like 2 people, and just did it.
In life, we are continuously tested. Our emotions are pulled to a breaking point until we teach ourselves to dig deep and push forward. The hardships and trials of life are only there to show us that we are as strong as our mind sets off to be. And Jessica's story taught us just that. These hardships and tests aren't where we stop. They're actually where we start.
What happens is you get to this point where it is either, do I quit or do I keep going? And I always say, fear of failure is always present. But it scares me even more to give up the dream, because I don't want to be 85 years old and look back and be like, what if I just stuck it out another year? What if I had just, and even those nights when I had some serious doubts or I felt discouraged, I always had like a spark inside. I mean, it's something you can't ignore. It just seems to always be there. Like when you want something so bad and you believe in it, it's, you can't put it out.
Let's go! Sometimes you feel so